You know this video is coming up. Let's discuss winter. Class is in session. In our top 20 summer fragrances video, you guys seem to be a fan of the format I put forward, where we have 5 different categories of fragrances for this season to make the list a bit more practical for your daily use. So these categories are going to be versatile signature daily wear, your date night / evening fragrances, your office fragrances, clubbing / partying, and finally I'm going to include a bonus category of the 4 best cheapies for wintertime in my opinion. So each of these will be categorized from number 4 to number 1 in ascending order, what I think are the best. But overall, the reason I'm including these fragrances in this list is the fact that I think each fragrance in each category has its own unique style. It will appeal to different people, so it doesn't really matter how I've ordered them. Just listen out for why they're in the list, what appeals to you the most, and then go for it. I think all 20 of these are excellent. Let's get into it. Number 4 in the versatile signature wear, I've chosen a very safe option that's discontinued now, so it's getting harder to find. This will be the last year for us to celebrate it. Hugo Boss Bottled Intense. This is the option for you guys who want to play it safe. It's a very well-known DNA, but obviously the intense version is better in my opinion because it performs. It's perfect for winter time. Very easy to wear. It's very close projection, but still good amount of power to it in a small bubble. It smells like a sweet apple pie with some fresh notes to balance it out. Very easy daily wear, and I'm very sad that discontinuing it. It's not the most complimented fragrance in my collection, but I still, think a lot of people will never say, "Oh, you smell offensive." It's an inoffensive signature. Number 3 is for the guy who just wants to smell sexy all the time. This is a good signature for winter. Is the brand new La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. A fantastic fragrance release. I keep on harking on about it. It's revived the original formulation of La Nuit de l'Homme, and because I think La Nuit de l'Homme is such a beautifully balanced fragrance, I do think this could be a very sexy fragrance to wear in any situation in the wintertime. The spiciness behind this really lends itself to this season. Fantastic release. I know it's hard to find, but try to find it. I don't know, you gotta do something. Call some guys.
I will look for you. I will find you.
Do something about it, guys. Get this fragrance. Number 2 is for the guy who wants longevity and fantastic performance to their daily wear. Armani Code Absolute. This is a vanilla fragrance, but they lighten it up and freshen it up with leather and other aromatic notes. So this fragrance is not overly complex, but it has this professional, mature vibe to it, as well as being sexy still, because overall it's still a vanilla scent. 12 hours longevity, loud projection, 3 sprays is all you need with this, and it gets a lot of compliments. So still a sexy signature, but the main advantage here, again, as I said, is the performance. And number 1 is for us guys who truly appreciate the craft and beauty of perfumery. Prada L'Homme's Intense. I think this easily trumps the original Prada L'Homme. It's a little more interesting, more noteworthy. In my experience, this is currently the number 1 fragrance of the brand, Prada L'Homme Intense. It's iris, extremely powdery, very sweet leather as well. So it's got this mature, elegant vibe to it. But I think most guys who are well dressed can rock this just as their daily signature. This is mainly, as I said, you appreciate the craft behind perfumery. It's not the biggest compliment getter, but most people say this smells nice at the very least. And then some people do really appreciate this. People who have the nose for it will really appreciate how high quality this smells, and you get about 10 hours of moderate projection as well, so the performance is excellent also. For date night / evening, this first option is the safest from these 4. Le Male Le Parfum. This is a nice safe DNA. I think I accidentally touched his crotch. It's a nice safe DNA of the original Le Male. They made it more romantic, a little bit more modern, with the cardamom note, a sexy, warm, spicy facet to it. So it has better performance than the original. It's very safe. A lot of people compliment this. It's very much middle of the road day night fragrance, very easy fragrance. If you like the Le Male DNA, this is an easy blind buy, and I think they've done a good tribute to the classic. Number 3 is for the guy who still wants to keep it romantic, but wants to smell a little bit more interesting, is willing to pay a little bit more money. Of course, I always love including Noir Extreme by Tom Ford. It's a sexy, spicy, floral sweet, densely sweet, very dense and close to the skin, but it's still intense when you smell it up close to you. Almost a gourmand-like fragrance because of kulfi. So it makes it smell sexy, romantic, sweet, and edible. And of course, it's very unique. No other fragrance on the market, I think, has the nose of kulfi in it. So I think, again, one of Tom Ford's best. easy for guys who want to spend a bit more money. Number 2, I feel is getting a little bit underappreciated in the community recently, CH Men's Privé. This is the entry for the guy who wants to smell mysterious, sexy, bad boy-esque. The easiest bad boy fragrance to rock. I don't see myself as a bad boy, but I still find this as a very easy fragrance. Anyone wearing a leather jacket could easily rock this. And you know, it doesn't have the best performance, but I still think it performs good enough. I think it's still easily worth the money, even with its 4 to 6 hours longevity. And finally, for the guy who wants a special occasion fragrance to really get the best perfumery possible, it's got to be Xerjoff Naxos. You can't have wintertime without Naxos. It's a bit strange. It's a very heavy, dense oriental fragrance. At the same time, though, it still smells light and balanced in a way. It's so weird. It is definitely meant for winter, though. It's tobacco, lavender, and honey. For those people who think about fragrances that are inspiring, the ones that are magical, this is magic in a bottle, and this will really change the way you look at fragrances forever. There's a reason why it's expensive. I think it's absolutely worth the money. It's over £200. Absolutely worth it. Lost a good amount of time, 10 hours with a moderate to soft projection. An excellent fragrance, one of my favorites in the collection in general. For the office category, you still want to keep it fresh and clean, but you want a little bit of density or performance to make this category work in the winter time. So number 4 is my sample of Tom Ford's Oud Mineral, which you'll see appear on the screen. A very underrated fragrance from the private blend, in my opinion. I think it didn't sell too well because it's now going a lot cheaper. For the price it's going at right now, it is fantastic. It's basically niche Bulgari's Aquamarine. I think you can wear this fragrance all year round. It's a sexy, fresh out of the shower seaweed and oud fragrance. Wear all year round, but I think the cleanliness, but also the density, as I said, with the seaweed, lends itself mostly to the office, I think, in the winter time. You may not agree with me, but I do think for the office, that is when you should wear Oud Mineral this season. Number 3 is from my favorite controversial influencers brand, Fragrance One's Office for Men. This is for the guy who wants performance. As we all appreciate, Jeremy insists on performance, he gets it. He insists on compliments, this gets it also. It's not a complex fragrance. I say you don't need a lot of mils with this. Get a smaller bottle or a sample that I have here. Make sure Jeremy's put it on the discount first of all as well. He's doing a lot of frequent discounts these days. I think it's a fantastic fragrance if you get it for a good price. It lasts 12 hours. It is synthetic. It has a lot of citrus, vetiver, and ambroxan. A lot of ambroxan, which is an easy fragrance to wear. I think because of how much strength it has, it makes it very appealing for the winter time. For the guy who still wants to smell light and fresh, well, light, but it's got the performance to cut through the cold. So this is good for the winter time. Well done, Jeremy. Number 2 is for the guy who wants to smell elegant in the office, Penhaligon Sartorial. This is the fresh barbershop DNA mixed with honey and a clean linen effect. Penhaligon's, boast that it's the traditional English brand, and this does make it smell like a clean English gentleman. I think, with the honey, the sweetness, this lends itself as the best sort of barbershop to have for the winter time. So yeah, I think it's appropriate for this season. 8 hours longevity with soft projection. And finally, this fragrance is for the man who wants to smell like an absolute boss in the office. Acqua di Parma's Sandalo. I don't see a lot of people discuss this fragrance. I think it's one of Acqua di Parma's best. If you like the note of sandalwood, which is a very dense, heavy woody note, very warm, perfect for the winter time. It is the woody note of winter. This has that barbershop fresh DNA up top and then lays it on thick, that sandalwood. It's a very thick, heavy, creamy sandalwood note. It lasts forever, 12 hours, moderate projection. It's not an absolute compliment beast, but this will easily make it smell mature, elegant, like a CEO, I would say. For the guys who are higher up or want to smell like they're in the higher ups of a hierarchy, this is the fragrance I imagine they would wear. Clubbing or partying, we're not going to include Eros in any of these 4. So the first one is for the guy who wants to get rid of Eros and wear something different with a similar appeal to it. This is Azzaro's The Most Wanted. Fantastic release. I think it's currently the best from the Wanted line. The Wanted line is not fantastic for originality. It's not an original line, but I think this one gets extra bonus points for how smooth it smells. It's got a simple note breakdown on Fragrantica, but overall the opening is very sharp and fresh, and then it dries down to a sweet woody toffee note. Very mass appealing. I've gotten compliments with this. I've had someone say I smell very sharp and refreshing with this sweet fragrance on the initial opening. Very similar to Eros in that way. It lasts a good amount of time. at least maybe 8 to 10 hours with moderate projection. Definitely an easy one to go for in the clubs. If you want to smell more interesting and unique in the clubs, you want a bit of a conversation starter in that way, Ralph Lauren's Polo Red Extreme. This is for the guy who wants to smell sexy, sweet, but with coffee. It's very much a coffee fragrance. Not as loud as Eros, but it has similarities in the way it dries down to the vanilla in the base. It's sweet, woody vanilla coffee. And last 10 hours, moderate projection. As I said, this is for the guy who really wants to stand out in the clubs, in the bars. I think this is an underrated Polo Red flanker. Number 2, for the guy who wants the best value for money, Mancera's Instant Crush. It is Mancera's take on the Baccarat Rouge DNA. It doesn't smell as fluorescent or as expensive as that fragrance, but this is definitely much better value for money. It's beast mode performer, over 14 hours, it's loud. It's got this sexy, sweet, floral, creamy DNA to it. It is unisex, but I think a lot of unisex fragrances in the clubs works well. It's very interesting, a head turner and a conversation starter. And number 1 is for the guy who doesn't care and he wants to ensure he will be noticed no matter what clubbing environment he's in. Nas Amato's Black Afghano. With great power comes great responsibility. This is a 24-hour lasting fragrance. You are committing. This is going to be your life for the next 24 hours. It is smoky, sweet, oud, and hashish. So this is, very interesting, very loud, extremely masculine, and this is definitely a head turner. Still a big compliment getter as well. Because it's so loud, people will notice this and hence will give you positive attention most of the times. But as I said, go easy on the spray. I use 2 half sprays. That's all you need. 30 mils of this fragrance is more than enough. Bonus category, my personal favorite current cheapies for the winter time. Grab yourself a bargain with one of these. The original Paco Rabanne Pour Homme from 1973. For the guy who wants to smell mature, hyper masculine, and wants an old school vibe, I think this perfumery here is fantastic for how cheap it is. Of course, it's from the 70s with that classic green, rugged fougere style to it. But again, it's got the honey notes, as I said before, good for the winter time, good performance, 8 hours of moderate projection. For less than £20, this is a steal. And even though I don't personally wear it that often, I still appreciate it for what it is, a classic. For somebody who wants something different and wants to appreciate the artistry behind perfumery at an affordable price, Versace The Dreamer. This is back in the day when perfumery was seen as a creative endeavor, a lot more than it is nowadays in the designer market at the very least. Gianni Versace created a unique signature. I feel that this fragrance will speak to certain individuals' souls, so I think anyone in the fragrance community should at least try this out at any store. It is florals, tobacco, and lavender. Interesting, different, balanced. I think it's good quality, good performance, 6 to 8 hours for a very affordable price. I think the Dreamer is just an instant classic. It's going to be with us for a very long time. Number 2 allows any of us to get the top quality perfumery at a very affordable price tag. Rochas Mustache EDP. This keeps getting hyped in the community and keeps getting sold out, so you gotta wait for it and pounce when the time is right. But yeah, for being a 10th of YSL's Tuxedo, which this is a clone of, this is instantly easier, better value for money. Especially in the opening, this smells pretty much exactly the same as YSL Tuxedo. So it's a sharp pepper and rose combination with a sweet ambery vanilla in the dry down. Very soft, it's not a loud projector at all, but you'll be able to detect this on yourself for at least 8 hours. Overall, just fantastic value for money. Very good for the winter time in my opinion because of how warm it is, but you can wear it in most of the year round. And of course, number 1 in my opinion is a unique style, but it's the best overall all-rounder cheapie in my opinion. It's back in another video, Encre Noir's Extreme. As a guy who doesn't really like the other 2 Encre Noirs, I find this is such a sexy, interesting, different, high quality fragrance. For 12 hours performance as well, this is just an easy blind buy in my opinion, as long as you don't hate vetiver, dark, woody scents. I just think, yeah, this is just fantastic. Fantastic patchouli notes as well. If you want to really experience great use of patchouli, this is the fragrance to do it at such a good price, and it's always available. So yeah, I think anyone in the community should definitely check this line out in general. I think if anyone wants to try out the Encre Noir line, this is easily the best one in my opinion. There you go guys, did you enjoy this format? Shall we carry on doing it? And let us know in the comments below, what is the number 1 fragrance you're going to be using the most in your collection this upcoming winter?